Hello and welcome back to everybody's favourite Formula One YouTube channel, Stop and Go Formula One. We're back again with a jam-packed episode today. We've got a lot of stuff to get through. We've got the McLaren launch, we've got the Aston launch, we've got the Williams shakedown, and a potential Alpine livery leak. We'll get to all of that and maybe more, who knows. But let's start with McLaren, who have launched their car today, one of the two teams to launch their car today. I really enjoyed their launch show. I thought it was really good. They're celebrating 60 years this year of the McLaren Formula One team. They opened up with this video package, which was really good, focusing on Bruce McLaren and like the initial part of the McLaren history. There was some really good stuff, like Mario Andretti was in it. Some very early McLaren employees in it, some McLaren fans who've been around for years. There's this one American chap who talked about meeting Bruce McLaren, which was incredible. Also, you know, you're thinking about Bruce McLaren in general and how, you know, we don't really get teams like that anymore, like the Williams team and stuff like that, like Jordan, where you have just a guy who makes a team. That's probably never going to happen again. I mean, Haas is the closest, but that's a guy who made a company, got a load of money, then made a Formula One team. These teams were guys who just loved racing and made racing teams. You don't really get that anymore. But anyway, whatever. Moving on from that video, they had another video. Oh, Vicstar123 was there, wearing his finest hoodie. Nice to see him. There was another video afterwards, which I found quite strange, because the main focus in the video was the McLaren World Champions. So you had like Fittipaldi, Senna, Prost, Hunt, Hakkinen, Hamilton. Am I forgetting any? I think that's all of them. Oh my god, have I forgotten any? I think that's all McLaren Champions. So that was the main focus, cutting through the 60 years of McLaren F1 history, and here's our world champions. Aren't they fantastic? And as much as you know, I was a massive Jenson Button fan growing up, so I was like, well, you know, he didn't win a title for you, but he was a very important part of your history. You know, there's lots of drivers like that, like Jenson Button, Kimi Raikkonen, David Coulthard, those types of drivers who were around McLaren for years, never won the title, but were still very important. But I understand this was just focusing on the champions. But alongside the champions, it also focused on their two current drivers, of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. And it starts with Norris and ends with Piastri. And I thought it was very strange, because you spend all this time going, 60 years! 60 years of McLaren! 60 years! Oh my god, look at all our history! And then Lando Norris, in his video package, his first line, which is obviously a scripted line, because you could tell he was reading the script, his line was, I don't care about the past. It's like, what? I know the whole thing is like, oh, it's not about the past, it's about the future. And there was a big kind of message at the end about how, look, we have lots of history, but this isn't the end of McLaren, this is only the beginning. And I get that Lando's message is this is about the future, not just the past, but we're building up 60 years, you can't just say I don't care about the past. And then Lando's driving around in a go-kart, and he spins out at one point. And that's kind of where you cut Lando off, was that he span out in this go-kart. And then the video package ends with, and here is like the future of McLaren. And it's just like a silent shot of Oscar Piastri. And I'm like, are you trying to stoke up some kind of rivalry between your drivers here? Because what you've just done is show Lando make a mistake in a go-kart, then say, here's the future of McLaren, Oscar Piastri. And you know, there's some very die-hard Lando Norris fans who are very passionate, let's say, and I feel that they would not take kindly to that video. Just saying. And you know, I really like both the lads. I think they're both very talented. I'm hoping that Piastri will be on the same level as Norris this year. I want to see them go head to head. I think that could be really fun. That's enough talking from me though, because after that video they revealed the car. So let me also reveal the car, and here it is. Not too dissimilar from last year, but there is some similarities, because I think the orange is more orange and there's also more blue. But the main point here that everyone is talking about is this is another in a long line this year of weight-saving liveries. As you can see, all this black here, here, here. Just bare carbon fibre, saving as much weight as they can. Personally, I think this works well with the McLaren. I think it looks good. What I would say about this, for an anniversary livery, I don't like it. For a regular livery, I do like it. Because you see, they're building up this whole big 60-year thing, but the only thing on the card to celebrate the 60 years is this 60 here. I mean, if you're going to have a celebration, I think you've got to go one of two ways. Either you can do a callback to the very first ever McLaren, or you celebrate the high spots of McLaren. So bring back the red and white from the Senna days. Although I understand why they wouldn't want to do that, because that was a cigarette sponsorship. So you go to silver. But then, of course, silver, or the chrome paint they had in the late 2000s, early 2010s, that was very heavy. So I can understand why they don't want to do that. So just do a classic one. I mean, see here, you just put a massive white spot behind that 4, and that's a livery like that. Or have the Kiwi logo down here or something. I don't think it's a great anniversary livery. That's what I'm going to say. Also, new things. Look, I call them gills, like on a fish, but I think gills, grill, whatever. That's a big curved one there. So that's new. That's coolant there. Once again, the overriding thing is, look at all this bare carbon fibre just everywhere. Of course, they've kept the wheel things. We love the wheel things around here. But I think overall, it's a good-looking car. I'm hoping McLaren can do well this year. I think it's going to be a very tight fight in the midfield. I think you're going to have your front three teams, and then you'll have your middle three teams. In terms of, you'll have the Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes up front. I'll get into predictions in a different video, but I think you might have Red Bull a bit further in front, then McLaren and Ferrari. Then I would love it if we had a battle for the best of the rest for 4th place in the Constructors, a McLaren, Alpine, Aston situation. And I really think we could end up going that way. So click off that for now. So that is McLaren. I think it'll be an interesting one for them. The main questions will be around Oscar Piastri. I mean, obviously last year they were kind of let down in a way by Daniel Ricciardo. When you look at the amount of points that Lando brought in comparison to the amount of points that Ricciardo brought in, it's night and day. I mean, if Piastri, I think it might take him a while, but if he can get to the point of kind of not equaling Lando, but being close enough, regularly scoring points, they'll be in a very good position. So hopefully they can do it, but hopefully they'll have a challenge from this man, Fernando Alonso. My goodness, I love Fernando Alonso. He's so good. And his move to Aston has been incredible. I mean, one of the biggest stories from last year, and from all of his media stuff he's doing at the minute, he seems to be in love with the team, and it's all very happy. How long that will last, we do not know. I'm hopeful that it will last a long time. I don't know why, but I'm very hopeful for Aston. I've got good feelings about them. It might be because I'm currently living with the biggest Aston Martin fan on the planet, but I've got good feelings about them. They're going in a good direction. I think they are the team with the most momentum at the minute. You can tell that Lawrence Stroll is just investing so much money into this team, and I think they're going to be in a good position. So their launch was a bit of an interesting one. Of course, we had a seminar from Lawrence Stroll at the start, which I don't mind because I think he's a very good speaker. Also, I think Aston are like one of the biggest meme teams on the grid. You know, Alonso has always taken the piss whenever he can. Lance Stroll, who, look at this lovely picture of him, he's a big meme. Lawrence Stroll's a meme. Their team principal's called Mike Crack. It's all a big joke. It's fantastic, and I love it. And here is their car for this year. And as you can see, it's basically the exact same as last year. They said within the presentation that 90% of the car has been changed. But I can't tell. I mean, you see the side pods here. They jumped the gun on stealing Red Bull side pods. Everyone's done it this year. They did it halfway through last year, but they've kind of refined this design a little bit more. You can see here as well the grille that they had. Now, they had this kind of grille on their launch car last year. Then halfway through the year, they got rid of the grille, and now the grille is back. Apparently the front wing is all brand new, and all these bits are all brand new. Livery itself, basically the same. Just having a look here. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. I really hope that they do well. I want them to be in that midfield like Force India were, like Racing Point were. I think since they've become Aston, if anything, they've gone down the grid. It's been a downgrade for now, but I think the investment is working. I think Fernando Alonso has wanted a Mercedes engine for about a decade, and he's finally got it. And I can't wait to see what he does with it, because the reliability let him down big time in the Alpine last year. But this year, I'm hoping for good things. I think Aston are a good place. I can't wait for testing to come around and me to be proven entirely wrong. But feeling confident at the moment. So let's move on now to something else. We're going to talk shakedowns. Now, we had a talk the other day about the Alpha Shakedown, the Red Bull Shakedown, and the Haas Shakedown, but it's now time for the Williams Shakedown. They've been out at Silverstone today, so this is their proper car. And looking at it, also not a weight-saving livery. But what happened last year with Williams, of course, is they launched their car, then slowly over the year, more and more paint disappeared as they saved more and more weight. So I would not be surprised if we saw the paint slowly vanish from this car. So this is the official photos they've released. What I quite like here with the side pods is they've gone, okay guys, do we want to copy Red Bull or Ferrari? And they've gone, yes. Because here, this inlet here, that's straight Red Bull, but they've also gone for the big old dip in here, which is Ferrari, and then the dip back in there. It's a combination of the two ideas that I really quite like. I hope it works well for them. Look how massive bulge there across the exhaust, and also something I noticed here, very pixelated. But you see these little flaps on the back of the halo. I don't think anyone else has got that. But of course, when you're looking at cars like this, you've got to remember, just because it's different does not mean it's good. Take, for example, the Mercedes no pods of last year. Just because they're the only ones who did it doesn't mean it's the right way to go. But yeah, looking good. I imagine all this paint will be stripped off, and it'll just be Duracell on a black car. But now for the spicy, spicy news of Alpine. Back to me. So, Alpine have done something rather strange, which is that they've done, allegedly, of course, this is all leaks and stuff, so take all this with a pinch of salt. Well, something we know for sure is that Alpine did their shakedown today, because they put on Twitter that they did it today, unless, of course, they're lying on Twitter, which they could be. But they have done their shakedown today in Silverstone of their car for 2023, which they haven't launched yet and haven't revealed yet. Interesting thing about the Silverstone track is that attached to it is a Hilton hotel. It looks like a very nice hotel. One day I'll go there because it looks lovely. And one of the Hilton hotel rooms, well, many of them, have balconies that overlook the start-finish straight of the Silverstone circuit. So if you're staying there, you can watch any racing that may or may not be going on. So Alpine today have been doing their shakedown, and there was someone in the Hilton hotel who was watching. And they have taken a video which leads to this here screenshot, which is incredibly blurry. I've tried to do a little zoomed in version here as well. But this apparently is the 2023 Alpine. And what you can all see incredibly quickly is it is another weight-saving livery. If this is correct, you can see all the black here, black there, black back here. It's massively weight-saving. We've got the BWT sponsor on the side pod. big old blue section here, but a majority black. It's actually very similar to the McLaren. Let me bring the McLaren back up. Is that the right one? Yeah. Actually, if you look at it side by side, that and the McLaren are not too different at all. They've painted the side pod, they painted the top, and the rest has been kept black. So if this is correct, we're seeing another weight-saving livery on the Alpine, which the Alpine will be the last car to be revealed this year. But what you've also got to take into consideration here is that Alpine have had fake leaks before. I think last year there was this whole, here's the Alpine leak, and it was completely wrong. So this could be another fake leak, but it looks a bit more genuine than the one last year. So, there you go. That is everything for today. McLaren looking good. Aston looking the same. Williams, they're not weight saving. I think they could possibly be in trouble this year. Alpine could be weight saving if the leaks are correct. I will see you tomorrow for a very spicy date on Valentine's Day. Me, you, and a Ferrari. I can't wait. I'll see you there. Goodbye.